In the heart of Africa, there resides a peculiar soul, a man named Saka. 46 years of age, born into opulence, Saka is no ordinary man. His unusual fascination? A younger woman, Oluwabukunmi. This isn't your typical admiration, no. It's an obsession that teeters on the brink of madness. Every waking moment, Saka is consumed by her. He scrutinizes her phone calls, obsesses over her online activities, and even pays people to shadow her every move. His fixation is relentless, unyielding, even when Oluwabukunmi pleads for him to stop, even when the authorities intervene. This obsession, this relentless pursuit, it's his joy, his delight. He mimics her, copies her creative ideas, mirrors her smile. He's even rumored to dress like her in the secrecy of his opulent abode. Despite his wealth and privilege, Saka's life revolves around one woman, one obsession. With all his wealth and privilege, Saka found his greatest delight in the shadows, stalking the object of his obsession. Beneath the surface of his ordinary facade, Saka's fixation took on a chilling character. The once quiet, unassuming heir to a fortune metamorphosed into a merciless stalker armed with an array of sinister devices. His target, the effervescent and youthful Oluwabukunmi. The clandestine hunt, unbeknownst to many, has been unfolding for more than a decade. Using his wealth as a weapon, Saka stalked Oluwabukunmi's every move. Even when he couldn't be physically present, he had others to do his bidding, but this was not enough to satiate his craving. He yearned to penetrate deeper into her life, her thoughts, her aspirations. Thus, he turned to the digital realm. He seized control of Oluwabukunmi's phone and computer. Every tweet, every email, every text, nothing escaped Saka's prying eyes. He watched, listened, and mentally archived each detail, painting a detailed portrait of Oluwabukunmi in his mind. His infatuation wasn't just confined to her digital existence. He infiltrated her private life, even her professional and artistic endeavors. His family, clueless about his uncanny obsession, looked on. Despite numerous warnings, Saka remained defiant. His fixation had grown into an addiction, a mental ailment consuming his sanity. Yet, he seemed to derive a perverse satisfaction from this dark pursuit. In the digital sphere, Saka had found a sinister playground for his envy of Oluwabukunmi. Despite his abundant wealth, fanned the flames of this inescapable obsession, turning it into a perilous game that seemed to be spiraling out of control. As we delve deeper into this macabre narrative, we will witness the alarming lengths this fixation would drive him to. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, or so they say. For Saka, it was a whole different story. His fixation with Oluwabukunmi reached beyond the boundaries of mere stalking. An eerie fixation took hold of him. Saka didn't just observe Oluwabukunmi from afar, he attempted to become her. He copied her creative ideas, replicating them in the confines of his own life. His obsession became a perverse form of plagiarism, a theft of intellectual property that he justified under the guise of admiration. The imitation didn't stop at her ideas. He mimicked her actions, her mannerisms, the way she laughed, the way she frowned. He observed her so closely, so intently, that he began to adopt her expressions, her gestures, her nuances. In the secrecy of his own home, he took his obsession a step further. He began to dress like Oluwabukunmi, to clothe himself in her style, her fashion. He would stand in front of his mirror, adorned in her likeness, and lose himself in the reflection that stared back at him. His obsession with Oluwabukunmi was no longer just an infatuation, it had morphed into an addiction. A dependence that was slowly eating away at his sanity, causing him to spiral into a mental abyss. He was no longer just stalking her life. He mirrored her every move, every smile, every idea. His obsession had turned into a strange addiction. Saka's story is a chilling reminder of how admiration can morph into obsession and obsession into imitation. blurring the line between identity and imitation. Despite the darkness of his obsession, Saka's story doesn't end here. His compulsion, a parasite feeding off his sanity, continues to grow, unheeded by the numerous warnings from his victim and the subsequent police involvement. His wealth, once a symbol of his affluent lineage, now funds his perverse fixation. He pays people to shadow Oluwabukunmi, to track her every move. Like a moth drawn to a flame, he is undeterred, even as the heat of consequences singes his life. His obsession has morphed into an addiction, a mental prison he willingly incarcerates himself in. Yet the law is not a silent observer. Its gears grind slowly but surely against the actions of this relentless stalker. Even as the world closed in around him, Saka held on to his obsession. A strange man with an even stranger addiction. But what comes next? Will his obsession lead to his downfall, or will he continue down this dark path? Stay tuned to find out in our next episode.